Well, hey, Carter, thanks for joining us and talking to the community about the topic of partnerships. So before we jump into each of the stages, can you introduce yourself, kind of some of your background, but also frame up what are we talking about? What does partnership mean?
Absolutely. Thanks again, David. I'm really looking forward to our opportunity today to talk a little bit more. But to get started, I am a partner guy. I work in something called the channel. I've been doing the channel the last 6 of my 8 years. I'm doing a lot of the work in the B2B space. I spent some time working at AWS, predominantly working with partners that were coming and building technologies in the cloud. As you probably heard that buzzword, Apple Cloud, I'm a part of that. Then I also ended up moving over to working at Oracle and helping support companies called system integrators. And those essentially are individuals that have a unique experience and knowledge around building our products. So I've worked through a couple different channels and partnerships, as we call them, in a couple different facets. But, today we're going to kind of roll it back a little bit and talk about partnerships 101 here, where I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. And really it is where two companies, it could be more than two companies, it could be multiple companies come together on a joint value with a joint or agreed upon objective. So again, it's an exciting opportunity where, again, it is a force multiplier. It will allow you to really capitalize on, not just growing individually, but growing with somebody that can help complement you in such a way to really help you achieve scale. And with a partnership, you can do that.
Well, that sounds exciting. Let's go ahead and jump in.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Because at the end of adoption, you hit that first economic milestone, that kind of ideal month. And we go, okay, we want to take that ideal month and make that every month. Mm-hmm. And so sustainability doesn't necessarily mean your revenue is flat. It can certainly be, we want to design for it to be growing, but it's growing at a sustainable rate. And so a lot of what happens in sustainability is you're continuing to grow your revenue, but you're also continuing to optimize inside and really grow your profit margins in there. Mm-hmm. And so I imagine this isn't like entirely different than what we've talked about, but probably maybe takes on a little bit different of a flavor and kind of what we were just talking about in adoption, talking about like working internally with your team. I imagine there's a lot more conversations within the team to go, okay, we've gotten to here. How do we make this like a lot easier? What are some of the ways you're thinking about partnerships now that you've kind of reached that sustainability step and you're really trying to optimize?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about it earlier. It's build a program around it, programatize it. That way it's something that's repeatable and it's scalable. If you can do this time and time again, and each of your partners kind of goes through a similar process, then it's something that can be easily repeatable. And I think it's important to kind of figure out what those key metrics could be that you're going to need to have a successful program in place. Because, that's going to be helpful. Is it going to be something that's really predicated in you really understanding how you market maybe a little bit better together? Is it something that you've learned through your sales motions? Is it your co-selling, which is something where you're selling together in such a way? Is it, again, going back to how you might be having a product in the sense of a B2B fashion, integration strategy that might be more jointly together? Or you could have something that's very exclusive only between the two of you, such as a partnership. And so it's really making a framework that's built upon, that will become a program. And so you have the success behind seeing some of that. Now let's roll it out into such a program. That way we can do it hundreds and hundreds of times over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that repeatable, scalable program is a very essential part of the sustainability stage. Are there, so yeah, we can, it's easy to imagine like all the different areas you'd want to start partnering in or continue or amplify, fine tune the partnering during sustainability. Are there any like pitfalls that you would see a company who's in that sustainability, they're really trying to optimize, that they want to be aware of as they consider partnerships? Any like missteps that might be potential, but also unseen?
Not listening to your partners, not taking their constructive feedback, and not being like, okay, maybe we didn't make some modifications that's on us. That's an owie on us. We made a mistake, or this really didn't work because we didn't contribute to it, X, Y, and Z. Having the ability to communicate with them and understand their business is going to be important for you. So if they give you feedback, and again, you have to focus on what's best for your business, but you need to understand and conform a little bit to them as well, or make sure that you can kind of move that forward. So if you're not taking that feedback and not having that loop, as we talked about, then you're going to be running the risk of isolating your partners, and your partners might not want to look to invest in you. And unfortunately, the channel is that, that growth multiplier we talked about. It's important that you take that in consideration as well. So that could be something you really need to be cognizant of if you're not really understanding where your partners are at. So when you're building that program, work with them, understand what they would want to see in a program and how you can scale that out with them.
Yeah, and it comes back to what you said earlier about these better together stories. And even as you were describing that, it made me think about kind of even just the posture of seeing someone as a vendor versus a partner. Where that partner, I don't know, and obviously, there'd be a lot of overlap there, but I think about when you say, oh, they're my vendor, that feels more one directional. It's I tell them to do something, they do the thing, and they carry that out. Where a partner, like you said, there's a lot more two-way conversation going on there. Is there an aspect of redundancy that a business would want to think about in this stage, though? Because made me think about this as you're talking about, your partner might not be happy and might not want to continue. Well, as you're trying to optimize, I imagine you want to be cautious of not having if this one partner walks away, our entire business breaks. Or how should someone think about, we're building for sustainability here? How do you think about redundancy when it comes to partnerships?
Yeah, think about diverse partnerships. Think about diversity in the sense that you have a rich, what we call this, I'm going to use the word ecosystem of partners that you can leverage and take advantage of for various things. And it's important that if one doesn't work, great. You don't want to derive all your revenue from one partnership, because what happens if you do? I mean, you're going to be in a tough spot. So you have to evaluate, how do I hit critical mass across multiple different partnerships and multiple different levers to take advantage of? Because that's really going to help really drive that continued and sustained growth. So you do need to take that in consideration when trying to map out your partnerships. And it's critical to ensure that you're not deriving a lot from just one, but you're spacing out and you're leveraging multiple different avenues within your ecosystem as well as your partnerships. Okay,
no, it is, yeah. That ecosystem word keeps coming back. It's a good word. It's a good way to think about how we structure everything around our business. All right. Well, as we've kind of walked through all these different stages, Carter, is there anything you want to way you want to frame up just partnerships in general, some takeaways for our founders, our leaders that are watching this?
Yeah. Spend some time with your team. Really get to know the ideal partner profile. I even have this note right in front of me that even talks about it. It's just going back to knowing your business goals, find the right business model, whether it be distribution, whether it be an OEM partnership, maybe it be, franchise, or maybe it's just a co-branded marketing partnership here. So really making sure that you craft that narrative, and that narrative evolves with you as your company evolves. Make sure that you're taking into consideration cultural as well. If the company you're working with doesn't share cultural things that are important for you as an organization, then you could run the risk of having something that really doesn't pan out to being a successful partnership. So I think it's always going back to having those key components locked in. And then finally, understanding the motion of sell to, sell with, and sell through. I didn't touch on that too much, but I want to touch on it now. Is you can sell directly to someone with your own resources. You can sell with somebody. And again, that's where you're using their resources to help you sell their product potentially. And you can sell through them. And that's like a marketplace. You can use that pretty easily to think about Amazon.com and going and using that as a procurement channel to purchase and buy products and have them be sold there. So if you can get that down to a T and understand, again, that value prop, we talked about that better together story, and spend time on it, because it's not easy. It's going to be one of the most challenging things for you to build that out. But if you can get that down to the T, then it's easy to go sell it, because if you can convince somebody else to sell your own product, then you're doing something right.
Yeah, I like that. That's really helpful. I think actually, this has been really helpful, Carter, as you've walked through. I'm sure people may have some other questions, which they can always come, and glad you're part of the community at Fiesta Connect. And so they can come in here and ping you, maybe ask some questions, grab some time. But yeah, thanks so much for sharing your expertise with us, and yeah, kind of walking through what does partnerships look like at each stage of business.
Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it.